What happens when a business coach gives AI full control for a week? Let's just say I didn't expect this much time back. Now, we're talking a full content calendar done in an hour. Email replies like, wow, this sounds exactly like you, and hours, literally hours, freed up to focus on the parts of my business that I actually enjoy. So here's how it went down. What worked, what didn't, and what you can totally steal for your own business, especially if you've been curious about AI but don't know where to start. So AI sounds cool, but also kind of scary, right? Especially if you're a coach or course creator who built your business on real connection, trust, and personal touch. Now, there's this fear that AI is going to make everything feel robotic, or worse, that it's going to replace us. And I totally get that. Even with a background in tech, I hesitated. At first, I thought AI was just another shiny object. One more thing I'd have to figure out. One more tool that I'd probably sign up for and never actually use. And on top of that, there's the pressure. Like, you're hearing all these people say you have to be using AI, or you're gonna fall behind if you don't. But what no one really was explaining was how. Or if it was explained, it felt like it was made for people who had a team of 12, a developer on standby, and a $20,000 a month ad budget. Now, meanwhile, most solopreneurs, myself included, are asking, can this actually help me right now? Is it going to make things easier or just add to the chaos? And will it actually sound like me, or will my audience know that a robot wrote it? So instead of just guessing, I decided to test it. I handed over some of my most repetitive, time-consuming tasks to AI just for a week, not forever, just 7 days to see what would happen. And I went in with one big question. Can AI actually make my business simpler, not more complicated? And that's what this episode is all about. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what I gave to AI, how it performed, what surprised me, and how you can start testing this in your business in a way that feels aligned, not overwhelming. Because this isn't about jumping on another trend. It's about getting your time back, building systems that support you, and using AI to do the work that doesn't need your full brain power, so that you can focus on the parts of your business that light you up. Sound good? Let's dive into how I set this whole thing up, and let's talk about the experiment. So I didn't want to just talk about AI. I wanted to actually use it and see what it could really do in my business. So here's what I decided. For one full week, I was going to hand off as many repetitive behind-the-scenes tasks as I could to AI. And when I say repetitive, I mean those tasks that constantly pull at my time and energy, but don't really need me to be doing them. You probably have a few of those too. So here's what I did. I started by listing out all the stuff that was slowing me down. Not the deep coaching work, not strategy or decision making, just the busy work. And here's what ended up on that list. First, writing my weekly email newsletter, creating social captions for Instagram, drafting ideas for a podcast promo, responding to frequently asked DMs, following up with cold leads from a recent launch, and scheduling content I kept forgetting to post. And honestly, just reading that list made me realize how much time I'd been spending in maintenance mode. And it wasn't just the time, it was the mental load of remembering to do all of it. And so I decided to test a combination of tools. So I used ChatGPT to help write and repurpose content. I used LaunchGrid.ai, my automation hub, to handle the email sequences and the lead follow-up, and Canva's AI tools to speed up visuals and captions for social. And that was it. 3 tools, no crazy stacks, no tech headaches. And here's the important part. I didn't try to automate everything. I picked 1 or 2 tasks per day, just enough to run a fair test and see if I could actually build a rhythm. Because that's the part most people miss. AI isn't about doing it all overnight. It's about handing off the right tasks so that you can stay focused again on what really matters. So every day that week, I tracked 2 things: how much time the AI saved me, and whether or not the final result felt like me. Because here's the thing, any AI can spit out words or schedule something, but I didn't want it to sound robotic. I wanted it to feel aligned, to still sound like I was the one showing up. And just by being intentional with my inputs and keeping the tone, the strategy, and the purpose behind every single task clear, I was shocked by how well the tools adapted. But I'll get to the results in a minute. Next, let's break down exactly what I gave AI to do and how I structured each task to actually sound like me, not like some generic copy and paste bot. So let's walk through how this actually played out day by day, because I didn't just throw everything at AI and hope for the best. I was really intentional. So each day I focused on one task that I normally do manually and asked, could AI help me do this faster and still make it feel like me? So let's start with Monday. It's usually my content planning day. Now, normally I sit down, I try to come up with some ideas for the week, what to post, what to email about, what the theme should be. And I'll be honest, it sometimes takes me hours. So I gave ChatGPT a prompt. I told it, act like a content strategist for a coach who teaches entrepreneurs how to use AI to grow their business. Sounds like me, right? So give me 5 post ideas, an email topic, and a YouTube concept that all tie into the theme of productivity. It took less than 20 seconds, and it gave me a full content plan with ideas that were actually pretty good. Like not surface level stuff, real hooks, story prompts, even suggested calls to action or CTAs. And that alone saved me over an hour. Tuesday, I tackled my weekly email. Usually that's something I want to write, but sometimes I put it off because I'm tired or too busy. And so this time, I gave ChatGPT a slightly more detailed prompt based on one of the ideas from Monday's plan. It wrote the first draft. I edited it for the tone, I added a story from my own life, and then dropped it into launchgrid.ai. Here's the wild part. That email got a 41% open rate, which is well above my average. And I had multiple replies saying, I feel like you're in my head, which proves something really important. AI didn't replace my voice. It helped me to find it faster. Now, Wednesday, I used AI to draft Instagram captions, not just to write them, but to help me brainstorm hooks, repurpose podcast content, and match the vibe I wanted to show up with online. Educational, but still personal. And then I used Canva's Magic Write to help generate a few options, and then ChatGPT to rewrite them in my voice. Honestly, some of those captions needed very little tweaking, and I got through what usually takes 90 minutes in about 25. And then Thursday, I tested AI for lead follow-up. So inside LaunchGrid, I have automations that follow up with people who download my lead magnets but don't take the next step. Now, normally I would, manually write each email and obsess over the timing and tone, and let's be real, sometimes I forget to even send them. So this time I let AI write the sequence based on the person's behavior. And so someone who opened but didn't click got a gentle reminder. Someone who clicked but didn't sign up got a nudge with a bonus incentive. I added my tweaks, but the bones of the sequence, all AI. Friday, I used AI to help draft a script for this exact YouTube video. What you're hearing now, yes, it's my voice, my stories, and my insights, but I used AI to organize my outline, generate transition phrases, and even brainstorm the hook. And that's the power of AI. It doesn't take away your ideas, it gives you momentum, it gets you moving. So by the end of the week, here's what happened. I had a full content plan. I wrote and scheduled my weekly emails. I posted consistently on social media. I followed up with leads, and I prepped a YouTube episode. All of that without staying up late, without skipping lunch, without burning out. And the best part, it all still felt like me. Now, coming up next, I'll walk you through exactly what worked, what didn't, and how you can start testing this in your own business, even if you're not techie. Okay, let's get into it. So, what actually worked? Well, let's start with the wins because there were some big ones. Now, the biggest game changer for me was honestly how fast I could move once I gave AI a clear prompt. And so when I started with intention, like giving it structure, tone, and the why behind the task, the results were pretty solid. So way better than I expected. So instead of spending a half a day staring at a blank doc trying to write an email, I had a strong first draft in under a minute. That's huge. It meant I could focus more on adding my personal story or tweaking the flow instead of trying to come up with something from scratch. And so when it came to social content, I found that AI is especially helpful for generating variations. So like if I had a great post that did well last month, I could say, rewrite this with a different angle or turn this post into a question format for engagement. And it gave me options that felt fresh, but still aligned with my voice. And so that's really the flexibility is something that I didn't realize I needed until I had it. Now let's talk automation because this was honestly the biggest surprise. So when I use AI inside LaunchGrid to set up my lead follow-up and email sequences, I expected it to feel pretty robotic. But when I paired it with voice-trained prompts, it felt just like me, just more consistent. So this again isn't about replacing that real connection, it's about amplifying it because now I can show up more consistently without sacrificing my voice or burning out in the process. But not everything worked exactly perfectly. There are a few learning curves, of course, and I want to be super honest about those too. So for one, AI is only as good as the input you give it. So when I rushed a prompt or didn't give enough context, the results were pretty generic. Not wrong, but not usable either. It reminded me that AI isn't a mind reader, it needs direction. And once I slowed down and gave it better inputs, boom, it delivered. Second thing, it's really easy to overdo it. Midweek, I try to run everything content, follow ups, email nurture, even parts of a course module through AI, and it was just too much. I lost the thread a bit because, yes, AI is powerful, but it still needs your brain and your heart to guide the process. Otherwise, the end result starts to feel really disconnected. So here's the real lesson I took away from this experiment. AI is not the star of the show. You are. AI is the assistant, the strategist, the behind the scenes powerhouse that helps you scale your voice, your vision, and your systems so that you can focus on the stuff that actually moves the needle. And when you treat it that way, when you don't expect it to do all the work, but instead give it a clear role. All right, coming up next, I'll walk you through exactly how you can get started this week with tools, prompts, and a system you can use right away. Let's do it. So, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, this sounds great, but how do I actually try this in my own business? Let's break it down together, step by step. Because what I learned in that last week is that using AI effectively has less to do with tech and everything to do with having a simple system. A system that's flexible, easy to start with, and it doesn't leave you feeling like you've added another full-time job to your plate. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so here's the starter system I'd recommend if you want to try AI in your business this week. So step one, choose one task, just one. Not a list of 10 things, not your entire funnel. Pick one area of your business where you feel like you're spending way too much time doing the same thing over and over. So for example, maybe it's writing that weekly newsletter or planning your content calendar or following up with leads who didn't book a call. This isn't about overhauling your business. This is about finding that one place where you're tired of reinventing the wheel. So start there. Step two, give AI a clear job description. This part is key. AI doesn't need fluff, it needs direction. So let's say you're using ChatGPT to help you write a newsletter. Don't just say, write an email for my business. Instead, try write a 3-paragraph newsletter in a warm, relatable tone about the number one mind shift every new course creator needs. Make the CTA about downloading my free AI guide. That kind of direction gives the AI a real chance to support you like a smart assistant would. Now, you'd be surprised how quickly it learns your rhythm once you start giving it better input. Step 3, create a microsystem around it. This is where you lock in the win. So let's go back to the newsletter example. You get a great first draft from ChatGPT. You spend 5 minutes editing it. Now what? Instead of repeating that process next week from scratch, turn it into a mini workflow. Maybe you create a prompt template that lives in your Notes app, and you reuse it weekly with a new topic. And so you know where the draft goes, you know who uploads it into LaunchGrid or your email platform. It's 5 steps max. But once it's in place, boom, that part of your business runs smoother. It doesn't require the same mental load each week. You've just built your first AI-powered system. No code, no learning curve, just one small change that gives you hours back over time. Now, let's say you've done that once and it feels good. You've got momentum, and so that's when you add another, not before. This is what I call layered automation. You build one simple system at a time based on your real bottlenecks and you let it compound. And listen, I know the hardest part is starting. So that's why I put together a resource called the ABCs of AI. It walks you through this exact process. It breaks down which tools to use based on your biggest time drains, how to write better prompts, and what to automate first to get actual results without feeling like a robot. So if you're curious about AI, but you don't want to waste time figuring it on your own, this guide is your next best step. You don't need to be techie, you just need a starting point. This is it. So I want you to grab the guide below, take the first step this week, and let's start building a business that runs a whole lot smoother with way less stress. Now, whether you're just dipping your toe in or you've been curious but hesitant, this guide will walk you through the exact things I wish I had when I started. Again, simple language, practical tools, and real-world business use, not theory. If you're ready to explore what's possible with AI without losing your voice, your values, or your sanity, go download the guide now. It's linked below. Or if you're seeing this on any other social media, just type ABC in the comments, because building a business that runs smoother, smarter, more sustainably, that starts with just one simple step. And this could be yours. I'll see you in the next one.